So in the last video we saw the a bit more informative BMI app based on conditional statements. So on the same basis I have another small activity kind of thing coming up, so I'll say about that in the end of the video. Stay tuned for that. So in this video we are gonna talk about loops, and so let's get started. So to demonstrate this concept, let's create a new file first. Let's name it loops.py. So close this and now save it. Just to make sure that the file is set up correctly. So yeah, there are two types of loops. One is a for loop and another one is a while loop. So a for loop runs for a specific number of times which you have predefined before the loop actually starts. So one thing is it runs for a specific number of times and it has its own iterative counter. So it has a count on how many times it has completed the loop, and it has its own variable for that. So you can say it unique iteration counter, and what else? Yeah, that's it for loop. And a while loop actually runs based on a condition. So one thing that is necessary is condition for it, and one more, it doesn't have its own iteration counter, so it is based upon a pre-existing variable. So dependent upon a variable. So that's the brief description about the loops. So let's get started with the for loop. So the for loop basically starts with the for keyword, and then you put the number of times. Either you have it a specific number of times, or you have it based upon a list, or whatever, depends upon your creativity. So let's just have it in a range. So for I in range, let's say I want to do it 50 times, and let's print I. Save it, and if you actually run it, so let's run it here, python loops.py, and as you can see, I'll just make it a little bit bigger. Yeah, so as you can see, it just counts from 0 to 49. So basically what happens is that there is a range, and if you don't specify the starting point of the range, it is taken defaultly as 0, and for every number in this range it does what is specified in the code. So in this case there is a counter I, and it iterates through the range 0 to 50, and a point to make sure here is that it doesn't count the last number. So if you want to count 50, you should just basically put 50 plus 1, which is 51. Not 5, not 51, and then make sure that is it. So, and it prints I. So what if you wanted I to go in reverse order? So let's say print I, and then I equals to I minus 1. Save it, and if you actually run it, so one thing about for loop is that it can never go backwards. So for such a condition you need what is called a while loop. Actually, yeah, in such a condition what you need is actually a while loop, and syntax for while loop is while, and here the condition comes. So while I is greater than 0, print I and then reduce I by 1. So what you can actually do is either you can do the same thing, I equals to I minus 1, or a quick shortcut for this in Python, if you are using the same variable, is you can actually put minus equals to, so it will reduce the variable by the number you are specifying. So in this case 1 again. So if you save it, and let's actually initiate I here with value of 100, and if you save it and run it again, as you can see it counts down from 100, 99 and so on till 1. So why did it stop at 1? Because at a point where 1 is there, 1 is always greater than 0, and when it got reduced by 1 again, so it became 0. So this condition no more proved correct, so it stopped. So that's for and while loop. A specific keyword associated with this concept is the break keyword, and what it does is upon reaching a specific stage it just breaks the loop and the loop no more functions. So in this case let's set an if statement. If I equals to 50, if you're wondering what is this double equals to means, so in the previous statements you have seen a single equal to, and that is actually used when you have to assign a value to some variable. So in case of this double equal to, you are checking whether the variable is this value. So in this case I am checking whether I is 50, and in case I is 50, break. So what it actually does is when I becomes 50, it will break the loop and it will probably stop at 61. Not 61, 60. Not 60. I guess it will stop at 51. So let's clear the screen and run it again. As you can see it stopped at 51, because after 51, why does this pop up again? So after 51 the value reduces by 1 and now it's equal to 50 and the loop is broken. So yeah, that's pretty much about loops, and yeah, about that activity which I told you. So in the last video you actually saw our BMI app, and a similar implementation of conditional statements would be something like a grade output project, in which you take user input from the user, which is probably going to be his or her mark, and then you display a grade based upon the mark. And make sure the mark doesn't go beyond the range of 1, actually not 1, 0 to 100. So the user should not be actually able to put a value which is like 110 and still get a grade like A1. So if you don't get answer to this problem, actually think about it for like till you get the answer. And if you're fed up too much, I have it in my website, and as you can see an iCard will pop up now, and if you click on that you can go to my website and see the answer. But make sure to try out yourself before that. Thank you. Bye. See you in the next video.